Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha TV, the perfect show to kickstart your day, bringing you the top national, international, business and sports news. Let us begin with the headlines. 8th BRICS Summit and first ever BRICS BIMSTEC Outreach Summit to begin in Goa. Top leaders from 11 countries to attend. India to strongly raise issue of cross-border terrorism. Prime Minister to hold bilateral meetings with the Russian, Chinese and South African presidents on sidelines of the summit. India-Russia to sign multi-billion-dollar defence systems deal. NSG bid and UN ban on Masood Azhar to be raised with China. One Jawan of Sashastra Seema Bal killed and 8 injured in a terror attack on a convoy in Zakura on the outskirts of Srinagar. Banned terror outfit Al-Umar Mujahideen claims responsibility. And Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari to embark on 4-day visit to Hungary and Algeria today to raise issue of cross-border terrorism with the leadership there. A top story coming in from Goa, where the 8th BRICS Summit and the first ever BRICS BIMSTEC Outreach Summit begins today. Well, top leaders of 11 nations, including the heads of 5-nation bloc BRICS, are taking part in the 2-day summit. Now, discussions will be held on bilateral ties and a wide range of issues of mutual concern. The 5-nation BRICS include Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, while the 7-member BIMSTEC or Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technique and Economic Cooperation include India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Myanmar, Nepal, Sri Lanka and Thailand. The BRICS nations will focus on global economic downturn, militancy and cooperation with emerging economies. Among the BIMSTEC partners, Prime Ministers of Thailand, Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan and the President of Sri Lanka will participate. And from Myanmar, State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi will be participating. Now, they will discuss regional connectivity, trade facilitation and investment. Well, India is expected to strongly raise the issue of cross-border terrorism against Pakistan at the BRICS summit. It will also try to further isolate Pakistan from the BRICS conglomeration by projecting the BIMSTEC grouping as a major element of cooperation for the BRICS nations. Now, let's take a look at what else is going to come up at the summit that starts today.
The BRICS summit kicks off on Saturday with a dinner for all the assembled guests, including the heads of states. But ahead of this, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold bilateral meetings with Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping. He is expected to brief them about India's assessment of the Pakistani position on terrorism. The issue has already figured at the BRICS NSA meeting.
There would be very strong paragraphs on terrorism, including how to deal with countries that provide sanctuaries and safe havens, how to cut down their financing. At the NSA's level, we also actually moved the goalpost a little further, that not only look at the sources of financing, but also look at the sources from where they are getting the arms and ammunition, because how have they been able to carry on this sort of a thing. So these would get reflected in the BRICS declaration.
On Sunday, the summit will hold formal talks on the modalities and hurdles in cooperation among the countries. Chairperson of the BRICS Bank, KV Kamath, is expected to present his report on its working. BRICS has also evolved a tradition to reach out to other nations in the regional grouping. The Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation is an effort in this direction. The grouping avoids Pakistan to include India, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Thailand and Myanmar.
The interest that the other BIMSTEC countries have in it also shows their enthusiasm. It is a grouping which has absolutely no issues. It is an issues-free relationship. If anything, I think all member countries are deeply committed to moving it forward in promoting technical and economic cooperation, which will lead to poverty alleviation, which will result in sustainable development, which will lead to prosperity in the region, which is a very, very positive agenda. And so we like to stay focused on the positive aspects.
The 8th BRICS summit could well be the biggest launchpad for interaction among the member nations. It comes at a time when the Indian economy is growing at a faster pace than any of the other BRICS nations, including Russia and China. Significantly, India has notable differences with China on the issue of terrorism and the NSG. Russia has also deviated from its traditional partnership with India by holding military exercises with Pakistan.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi would have to utilize depth diplomacy and statesmanship so that irritants can be minimized and best potentials of the BRICS can be utilized. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Suri Sudarshan in Goa.
Well, more news from Goa. The 17th round of a bilateral summit between India and Russia is also being held on the sidelines of the BRICS. Now, terrorism will be the key issue of discussion during the talks. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin will hold talks today ahead of the BRICS summit. Now, restricted talks between the two leaders will take place between 11 a.m. and 12 noon. That will be followed by delegation-level talks. Exchange of agreements and witnessing of the laying of foundation concrete of the Kundankulam nuclear power plant units 3 and 4 will also take place following the talks. The two nations will also sign a multi-billion-dollar deal for S-400 Triumph for long-range air defense missile systems. Later in the day, the Prime Minister will hold bilateral talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping. He will also meet South African President Jacob Zuma following his meeting with the Chinese President. Now, ahead of his arrival in Goa, the Prime Minister tweeted, "I look forward to useful conversation with leaders from China, South Africa, Brazil and Russia on key global and regional challenges." As the BRICS chair this year, India embraces a stronger emphasis on enhancing economic and people-to-people ties. This will benefit us greatly. He further said, "I am happy that India is facilitating an outreach summit with BIMSTEC leaders of Bangladesh, Bhutan, Myanmar, Nepal, Sri Lanka and Thailand. The outreach with the BIMSTEC leaders is significant. We hope to tap the huge potential for cooperation and the dividends this will bring," unquote. And Prime Minister Modi is also likely to raise the issue of India's NSG membership bid and the blocking of UN ban on Jaish-e-Mohammed chief and Masood Azhar during talks with the Chinese president. Now, this as China sticks to its stance against India to continue blocking its efforts to ban Pakistani militant Masood Azhar and also its bid to join the nuclear suppliers group unit as consensus emerged on both the issues. Now, China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that there were differing views among members of the United Nations Security Council on listing Masood Azhar as a terrorist. China, remember, had vetoed the resolution on Azhar's banning at UNSC for the second time earlier this month. China also reiterated that there was no change in its position on the issue of India's entry in the 48-member NSG or the nuclear suppliers group. News from Jammu and Kashmir, where one Sashastra Seema Bal Jawan was killed and over 8 injured in a terror attack in Zakura on the outskirts of Srinagar. Now, the terrorists fired at the paramilitary convoy that was ferrying the security personnel to their camp. Now, Home Minister Rajnath Singh called upon SSB DG to assess the situation.
1 dead and 8 Sashastra Seema Bal Jawans were injured in a terror attack in Zakura on the outskirts of Srinagar on Friday night. Terrorists had attacked a paramilitary convoy ferrying the security personnel to their camp.
आज बहुत दिनों के बाद दुकान खोली, इतने में कुछ फायर की आवाज़ हुई. हमें लगा कुछ शायद इलेक्ट्रिक फॉल्ट आ गया, उसकी वजह से हम रुके. इतने में ही ज़बरदस्त जब फायरिंग शुरू हो गई, हम ज़मीन में दब गए. कम से कम मुझे लगता है 500-600 राउंड चले. उसके बाद हम वहीं पे रहे और उसके बाद कुछ टाइम के बाद हमने दुकान बंद की. जब हमें लगा कोई अब हलचल नहीं हो रही है, फिर हम ऐसा निकले और दुकान के पीछे जो घर है वहाँ पे बैठे. हमारी दुकान में इतनी सारी गोलियां लगी, हमें यकीन ही नहीं हो रहा है हम कैसे जिंदा है अभी.
The gunman managed to escape and the army has cordoned off the area. A search operation is on to track down the terrorists. The injured are being treated in hospital.
हमारे 8 जवान घायल हैं और एक हमारे शहीद हो चुके हैं. घनश्याम गुर्जर नाम है, राजस्थान के रहने वाले हैं. वो शहीद हो चुके हैं और जवाबी फायरिंग हुई. बाद में सर्च ऑपरेशन पुलिस के साथ मिलकर चल रहा है.
The band Al-Umar Mujahideen, terrorist organization, has claimed responsibility for carrying out the attack. The claim by the outfit signaled the revival of the militant group in Kashmir after more than 2 decades. Home Minister Rajnath Singh spoke with the SSB DG to assess the situation. The DG of the SSB is expected to visit the town later today. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, after initial reluctance, the army yesterday briefed a parliamentary panel on the recent surgical strikes carried out by its men across the line of control. Now, Vice Chief of the Army Staff briefed the members of the panel during a meeting inside Parliament. Well, our correspondents Vishal Daya and Panchanan Mishra bring us this report.
Vice Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Bipin Rawat briefed members of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Defence about the Army's surgical strikes in Pak-occupied Kashmir on the 29th of September.
वाइस चीफ ऑफ द आर्मी स्टाफ ने हमारी ब्रीफिंग की। जनरल रावत ने बहुत अच्छा ब्रीफिंग किया। जो कुछ हमको जानना चाहिए था, जो कुछ हम बता सकते हैं, उन्होंने बताया। बहुत अच्छी ब्रीफिंग किया और हम लोग सब संतुष्ट थे।
Panel Chief B.C. Khanduri told the media later that the Vice Chief of Army Staff made a brief statement but took no questions on the issue.
I think there is a lot of misunderstanding, and they have said that nothing. There was a briefing given by the government side, by the DGMO to the entire country. Since committee is a defense committee, he also said that committee should also be briefed. Everybody may not have. So just briefed.
The briefing on the surgical strikes was earlier scheduled to be done by representatives of the Ministry of Defence. The agenda was later changed to a hearing by officials of the Defence Ministry, the Law Ministry and the Election Commission. The Congress protested against the change in agenda, calling it highly unacceptable. With inputs from Vishal Daya and Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And Pakistan on Friday said that there was no backdoor diplomacy going on with India and that the composite dialogue process between the two countries remains suspended. Now, Pakistan Prime Minister's advisor on foreign affairs, Sartaj Aziz, told a news channel there was no backdoor or track to diplomacy going on between India and Pakistan, as such kind of contacts were established on the desire of the two sides. He further said that India has always blamed Pakistan for militancy without any proof, adding that the composite dialogue process between the two countries remains suspended. Now, Aziz also rejected the notion of Pakistan's diplomatic isolation and claimed that his country was moving in the right direction. Now, his remarks come amid a strain in ties following the Uri terror attack, in which 19 Indian soldiers were killed, and India's surgical strikes on 7 terror launch pads across the line of control on the intervening night of 28th and 29th of September. And Pakistan's most favoured nation tag may stay for now. Despite the rising tensions with Pakistan, the Union government is not taking a call to withdraw the trade status for the country. The Commerce and Industry Minister Nirmala Sitharaman clarified on Friday that a proposal to scrap Pakistan's MFN status is not even under consideration. Although Pakistan had agreed to grant India the MFN status during the secretary-level agreement in 2012, it has failed to fulfill the promise, missing several deadlines. Most favoured nation is a status granted by a trading partner to another country under WTO, giving equal treatment in terms of trading prices, market access without discrimination in imports and exports.
गुडविल के नाते दिए। आज के माहौल में बहुत सारे लोग हमसे ये बात पूछ रहे हैं कि क्या विड्रॉ करेंगे, मगर अभी इसके ऊपर कुछ मशक्कत नहीं हुई।
And Pakistan has withdrawn the order on a travel ban on journalists who was reported on a rift between the civilian and military leaderships in the country. Well, the decision came as the government came in for severe criticism following its decision to impose a foreign travel ban on journalist Cyril Almeida of Dawn. Now, Almeida's name was put on the exit control list this week after he reported about a verbal clash between the military and the Pakistani government over the spy agency's support to militants. Well, the decision to lift the ban was taken after Interior Minister Nisar Ali Khan met media representative bodies, All Pakistan Newspaper Society and the Council of Pakistan Newspaper Editors in Islamabad. Now, Pakistan Army expressed a serious concern over the news leak, after which Almeida was barred from leaving the country. But the Interior Minister reiterated that independent media must play its role not only towards safeguarding national interests and security, but also to counter negative propaganda of what he called was enemies of the state. And we'll take a very short break here. Up next, we'll have more news. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome. I'm Amritan Shara and you're watching Law of the Land on Sabha TV.
I think the bill is a big step forward.
We are all for enhanced fines.
Can Indians afford these kind of penalties? Well, the question is, can we afford to lose so many lives?
Watch Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. Now, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari will embark on a 4-day visit to Hungary and Algeria today. The Vice President will raise with Hungary and Algeria the issue of cross-border terrorism affecting India amid the growing tension with Pakistan in the wake of the Uri terror attack, as well as the surgical strikes carried out by the Indian Army on terror launch pads across the line of control. Well, during the visit, Vice President Ansari will hold bilateral meetings with the Presidents of Hungary and Algeria, Prime Minister of Hungary and Speakers of the National Assembly there. The high-level visit to Hungary comes after more than 2 decades when the then President Shankar Dayal Sharma had visited the Central European country in 1993. Well, on to some other news. A day after the All India Muslim Personal Board law accused the government of creating a discord between the communities, the centre on Friday rebuked the board for trying to politicize the issue. But while Union Minister Venkaiah Naidu called for a healthy debate on Uniform Civil Code, Samajwadi Party Chief Mulayam Singh Yadav has extended his support to the Muslim community. Meanwhile, in Lucknow, the AIM-PLB launched a signature campaign against the initiative.
In the wake of strong opposition to the Uniform Civil Code by some Muslim organizations, Samajwadi Party Chief Mulayam Singh Yadav on Friday extended his support to the community. He said decision on such a code should be left to religious leaders.
तो हम तो सबसे ज़्यादा उनको मानते हैं, सही है, तो इसलिए इसके लेकर के कोई विवाद नहीं और न विवाद होना चाहिए. जो अपना जिसमें विश्वास है उसको मानते रहें, लेकिन एक सवाल देश का सब एक रहें और एक इंसानियत का सवाल उससे एक रहें.
The centre, on the other hand, hit out at the All India Muslim Personal Law Board for trying to politicize the law panel's move to seek feedback on Uniform Civil Code. It said the Civil Code and Triple Talaq were separate issues and cannot be treated as extensions of one another.
The uniform laws are best based on consensus and an agreement within the community that need to change with the change of times as far as basic human rights are concerned. What is the objection for anybody? I'm not able to understand. You join the debate, let there be enlightened debate.
Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad pointed out that several Islamic countries had already regulated their matrimonial laws and the practice of triple talaq.
आज 1 दर्जन से अधिक इस्लामिक देशों में ट्रिपल तलाक को रेगुलेट किया गया है. बांग्लादेश है, ट्यूनीशिया है, ईरान है, मोरक्को है, इजिप्ट है, इंडोनेशिया है, पाकिस्तान है. तो अगर इस्लामिक देशों में ट्रिपल तलाक को रेगुलेट करने का कानून बनाया गया और वो शरिया के खिलाफ नहीं पाया गया, तो हिंदुस्तान जो कि एक सेक्युलर देश है, पंथ निरपेक्ष देश है, वहां पर अगर संविधान की भावनाओं के अनुरूप इस तरह के बारे में सोचा जाता है तो इसे शरिया के खिलाफ कैसे माना जाएगा.
The sharp reaction from the government came a day after the All India Muslim Personal Law Board and other Muslim community members decided to boycott the Law Commission's questionnaire. The questionnaire was put up on the law panel's website on October 7th to seek public opinion on the issue. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Let's get to some more national news in Nationwide. AAP MLA Naresh Balyan has been granted bail after being arrested on the charges of attacking and threatening former AAP volunteer Henry George. Now, Naresh Balyan was arrested on a day that also saw Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia and Okla MLA Amanatullah Khan being questioned by the anti-corruption branch in separate cases. At least 17 people were killed and many others injured when a private bus fell into a large water pit near Namli town today. Police said that 3 persons were rescued safely. The bus was on its way to Jarora from Ratlam, where the mishap took place. Unconfirmed reports said that there were 40 to 45 passengers in the bus. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed distress over the loss of lives in the accident. With 3 more deaths, the toll due to Japanese encephalitis has climbed to 51 in the Malkangiri district of Odisha. A police complaint has been lodged against Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik and others holding the government responsible for the situation. Unconfirmed reports, however, put the toll at 54 due to the vector-borne disease, which has affected around 45 villages across Malkangiri district. Let's get you some international news. Well, Bangladesh and China have upgraded their ties to a strategic partnership as they signed 40 agreements in Dhaka on Friday. This came after Chinese President Xi Jinping held talks with Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Now, MOUs and loan and framework agreements were signed on different projects between the two nations during Chinese President Xi Jinping's visit to the South Asian country. Among these is a cooperation agreement on increasing investment and production capacity building, under which 28 developmental projects will be infused with $20 billion. Now, Bangladesh also extended its support to Xi's Pet Belt and Road initiative, over which India has expressed its apprehensions in the past. The two nations have also agreed to establish institutional cooperation in the areas of maritime issues and counter-terrorism. Remember, Xi's trip comes at a time when Prime Minister Narendra Modi is leading efforts to boost ties with the neighbouring countries by offering them a share of India's fast-growing economy. Remember, last year, Modi had announced a $2 billion credit line during a visit to Dhaka. But China has surpassed that with a deal in the infrastructure sector worth over $20 billion.
我们同意将中孟关系从更加紧密的全面合作伙伴关系提升为战略合作伙伴关系。 加强两国高层交往和战略沟通，使两国关系在更高层次上持续向前发展。
We have reiterated our commitment to support the One China policy. We have agreed to work closely and support each other on regional and international issues of mutual interest. We reached consensus on cooperation in key areas such as trade and investment, infrastructure, industry, power and energy, information and communication, technology and agriculture. Just now, we have witnessed signing of 26 agreements and MOUs of cooperation.
Now, staying with Asia, thousands of Thais gathered at Bangkok's Royal Palace for late-night vigils to mourn King Bhumibol Adulyadej, who died on Thursday. Now, his body was brought to the palace in a convoy as mourners lined the streets weeping. Thousands lined the streets to catch a glimpse of Thai King's hearse as it made its way to the Grand Palace. The cabinet declared Friday a government holiday and flags are to fly at half-mast for the next 30 days. Official mourning will last a year. Now, people have been asked to wear black and avoid joyful events during this period. Cinema screenings, concerts and sports events have been cancelled or postponed. Now, King Bhumibol was the world's longest reigning monarch. Now, Crown Prince Mahavajiralongkorn has been named as the successor, but he has asked for a delay in the process. Meanwhile, the United Nations says it hopes for a smooth transition and resolution of human rights issues after Bhumibol's death.
We do hope that the transition will be smooth. We have, expressed our concerns about the human rights situation in Thailand over the past year on many occasions, and we are continuing to work with the government, with the military government, and with various interlocutors in the government to try to ensure that these human rights issues are resolved.
Let's get you some more international news in World Wrap. Haiti will hold its long-delayed presidential and parliamentary elections on 20th of November. The first round in both the elections, due to be held last week, were postponed because of Hurricane Matthew, which has killed 900 people. The country has been in political limbo since the polls in 2015 were scrapped because of violence and fraud. Meanwhile, United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon will visit Haiti on Saturday. US Democratic presidential contender Hillary Clinton leads rival Donald Trump by 7 percentage points, according to a Reuters national opinion poll. Now, this as the Republican nominee fights off accusations of groping women. Well, the poll released on Friday shows that 44% of likely voters support Clinton, while 37% back Trump. Meanwhile, 2 more women have come forward to accuse Donald Trump of sexual assault. Mexico expects to extradite drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman to the United States by February. However, Guzman can appeal any decision to extradite him. El Chapo faces multiple charges in the United States, including drug trafficking and murder. The leader of the notorious Sinaloa drug cartel is being held in a maximum security prison near the United States border. And Israel has suspended cooperation with UNESCO. This move came after the United Nations Cultural Organization adopted 2 resolutions on the occupied Palestinian territories, including annexed East Jerusalem. The resolutions refer to occupied Palestine and the need to safeguard the Palestinian cultural heritage and the distinctive character of East Jerusalem. In response, Israel accused the body of ignoring thousands of years of Jewish ties to Jerusalem and aiding Islamist terror. That's all in this edition of news. Thanks so much for watching.